Hey guys, just wanted to do my review of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 4, Episode 21, The Return, which makes the return of most of the agents, say Mac, from out of the framework. Daisy and Simmons are trying to help Piper and some other agents, pilot the Zephyr when they're being shot down, and so much of their powers the ship was being reserved and transferred over to keep to the machinery that was keeping Daisy and Simmons in the framework. And then with Ada and Fitz teleporting out of there because she acquired inhuman abilities, they're confronted by the superior Anton Ivanov, or at least his LMD, and so trying to shoot. So by May shooting him doesn't work, but Coulson using the shield in his hand, slice his face in half, was able to do it, but there are more LMDs there, and they have to lock themselves in the room until, at least temporarily, until they find a way to get out or find a way to fight their way out. May suggests using adrenaline, but she doesn't want to. But Coulson doesn't want her to risk her life, and May says, "Oh, you can just give me CPR," and that reminds him of the kiss he shared with the May LMD. And May gets suspicious and asks what happens, and if the LMD made a move on Coulson and tried to kill him, and he just goes with that answer. Yeah, that was about it. And they're successfully able to get the reserve power back to the Zephyr and shoot the jet out of the sky. And also, being able to do that, after their words, Yo-Yo's yelling at Daisy Johnson for not trying to get Mac out of there, and she has to explain about Hope. Yo-Yo only knows that Hope died of SIDS in the real world. In the framework, she was only 10 years old, and Mac wouldn't leave the world for anything, even if he knew when simulated. And Yo-Yo is hell-bent on trying to go back into the framework and rescue him, but Daisy says that they need all hands on deck, and she doesn't know where she'll wake up and what part of the framework she'll wake up in. And so Fitz and Simmons are like on a beach, and she's talking about how how Ada's experiencing all these other human emotions, and like she doesn't come across as sort of like calculating and robotic or like insidious, but it's like she just seems like genuine joy, like being able to feel, having the five senses, and the water touch her feet on the beach, and Simmons is still disturbed about how that she made him like commit atrocities in her name, and but the thing is that Ada's still trying to blame Radcliffe for that, and that she was only acting out of choice. It was part of her programming. So it kind of makes you wonder, like, how much empathy does she really feel, and how manipulative she really is. And she takes him to an old beach house, or the old house where Fitz and his dad and the framework were staying. But she realizes that it's too much, and it's too shocking for him. And Fitz asks if she feels empathy, so she understands like how people are going to see her, and that she can, and basically convinces Ada to go back, in spite of the fact that she's afraid of dying, to go rescue her friends, especially since the Superior takes off with the Darkhold and some bunch of equipment on the sub, and then try to blow up the oil rig with Coulson and May fighting them to get out, and it starts to fill up with water, and they have to leave Mac behind because if they unplug him too soon, that it'll just fry his brain. And then but the Zephyr arrives, and Yo-Yo wants to go and get him, And but of course, after Ada can't stop a superior from calling off the strike and killing them, she decides to teleport him and Fitz down to the sinking rig, and rescue Mac and bring them back onto the ship. And she has this feeling of relief, and she mentions the happiest moment of her life. But then she and Fitz are shot with icers by Piper and Simmons because they don't know what to do with them, and they all end up taking off in time and have to go back to the remnants of their old headquarters, but it's completely been blown up during their escape from the LMDs. So, but Cole Talbot and an army of soldiers are there waiting for them because they don't trust them. They still think they're all LMDs, and Coulson has to try to explain the whole situation to them in the standoff. And meanwhile, Fitz is confiding in Ada, saying that they'll eventually forgive her for her actions, and it was comforting getting to know Leo and what a romantic he is, and when Leo says he can't have two people in his heart, and that he chose Simmons, and she's watching this whole thing, thinking that the relationship is over, but then but Leo chose Gemma, and then all of a sudden that kind of gets really apprehensive, Ada, and then all of a sudden it's just like she just goes completely apeshit, just starts screaming like how she was like, I did all this for you, I crawled out of that world just for you, and we're gonna have a life together whether you want to or not. She tries to teleport out of there, and she can't. But then all the other agents come and snatch Fitz from that padded room and leave Ada trapped in there. And then Fitz warns them that that wasn't her only power, and she acquired other powers like electrokinesis, kind of like Lincoln. And so she basically gets out and goes on this murderous rampage trying to get to Fitz, killing soldiers and shield agents, and even reminding May during conversation. It was implied that she assimilated the powers of all the framework in humans when creating a new body, and apparently because she also had super strength and super healing as well. And after the whole massacre, she goes back to the superior, and he says that she's experiencing heartbreak for the first time, and the emotions is too overwhelming for her, and she hates feeling these all intense emotions, and then tries to take it out on, and then tries to have sex with the LMD Anton, and then starts bashing his head in, and this seems like he wants to make everyone suffer except for Fitz, like make everybody suffer and make her feel the pain that she's going through. And I guess I feel like it would have been, maybe there's a part of me that thought that storyline was going to play out and not kind of like rush it, where she like yo-yoed between feeling like a human being trying to redeem herself, and then becoming completely unstable when not dealing with rejections, and maybe it's from being in the human body and not being able to process those emotions for such a short amount of time. She's like almost like she's like Anton said, she's an infant, and so now when everybody was leaving the wreckage of the base, they were still that gateway from back in the Ghost Rider arc, and Robbie Reyes actually emerges from it, and now it looks like he's going to be teaming up with them to help them track down Ada, and before she becomes a threat to the team and everybody else. So there's a lot of setup here, and there's a lot that got resolved, and it just feels like this is all of these arcs, LMDs and Ghost Rider stuff. it feels like it feels like it's all coming full circle now, and it was nice to have these reminders about, Talbot showing up, about the terrorist, the whole explosion at the base being, part of the terrorist attack, and we're like, oh yeah, the whole LMD, LMD is fighting and replacing agents. Like, you forget about that because of the hiatus and whatnot, and how long they've been in the framework. So it was nice to have that come back around. It'll be interesting to see how, these aspects of Ghost Rider like mesh well with, fighting and this crazy inhuman Ada, and like what she's gonna plan to do, because it's not gonna be just eat an obvious rock'em sock'em kind of fight, but how they're gonna handle her. Are they gonna actually have to kill her, imprison her somehow, strip her of her powers? I couldn't get much from the trailer, but it looks like it could be pretty exciting. So what do you guys think of how they're wrapping up the season? Do you feel like it's really coming full circle? Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. If you like this video, like, share, and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys soon. Take care.